But last week we did your why, how it says what you believe determines what you do. What you believe determines your purpose. It informs the way you live your life. It informs your why, we said. That's what Simon called it. And today it's more the how. It also informs the strategy of what you do. How and strategy, I think, are synonymous. I like to call a strategy a clever plan. Morning, Taylor. Morning, Katie. Morning, Hurston. I like strategy, a clever plan. But how we do that? Jesus had a clever plan. He was not fooled by Adam and Eve. Was he, Taylor? He was not. Oh, they messed this whole thing up. He had spoken them into existence, and now, did they mess this up? No, he had a plan. Jesus was not plan B. He was the original plan all along. So he's the greatest, not only the greatest leader the world's ever seen, but he's the greatest strategist the world's ever seen. Bring your business. Who's been thinking about their business already this morning? Admit it. You have been. Already. On the drive over. Think about it. I want you to have maybe the toughest scenario you're facing, or it may be the opportunity. It may be like, I can't wait for this. On your mind the whole time. And here's what we're going to see. We're going to see, as we did last week, your reason for being. Your beliefs determine your why. Your beliefs determine your why. What you really believe then influences you all day long. What you believe about a client, what you believe about a customer, what you believe in the heart of hearts is your reason for being, why you're here. And what we're going to see today, how you pursue your life and work is also totally built on your beliefs. It's totally what I do at this decision point today. In a quick decision, it's just like jaw and reflexes. I could dribble all day long. How much does jaw think about dribbling? Never. That's why I tell my kids, you're thinking about that dribbling. You're not jaw. And you need to think about it so you don't think about it anymore. I mean, it's true. But then he doesn't think about that, so he can totally read defenses and think about strategy instead, because he dribbles like he breathes. And if we could get our how and our why plugged in us like we breathe, and that's what Jesus is suggesting when he says the way, the truth, and the life. So we'll look at that. And here's what we'll see. That you can align everything, your life purpose can be totally aligned with your mission. Taylor and I, we worked together, and we created a sub-mission so we could complement the master mission. But if you work for a company, you have no choice. You've signed up to fulfill their mission in some way. Now, you may do that slightly differently, and you could have a personal mission or a group mission or a location mission to say, we're going to do it this way, but it still would have to totally be complementary to the mission. And then you have a family. Some of you have mission states for your family. Some of you have mission states for nonprofits you're part of, or just how you want to live your life personally. And then your temporary goals, strategies, and plans fulfill that. And you use, and classic strategic planning is, take your gifts and your means. Another way to say these are your strengths, and deploy them toward the opportunities or the weaknesses or the threats at hand. All those things. That's how you do strategic planning. So we'll get more and more detail as we go. But that's what we're learning today, right? It's all lined up. And as Augustine says, when it's all lined up, we're not under stress. When it's all lined up, when I know what I'm doing right now, whether that's today at 2:30 or Friday night at midnight or Sunday morning or Tuesday at 9, when I know I'm living out my purpose in the way I make this decision, the way I think about how to serve this client or boss or customer or employee, I'm at more peace. Augustine said, I'm restless if I'm not lined up. And so that I can all be on peace. That's what we're looking at. Okay. Now your turn. What's the benefit of studying other leaders? Learning. What can you learn? Yeah, that really sums it up, right? Look at people's lives and how they do things. It's something I've just naturally been drawn to, maybe for 40 years, maybe over a long time. How does that person do that? That's interesting. How did that work out as I studied them? Really interesting. I can learn what to do. I can learn what not to do just as well. Who studied these two? Who's thought about it? We got preconceived opinions for sure. Read about it. So we're going to go through them as quickly as we can in about a few minutes, and your thoughts. But what we can say about these two is they have it lined up. Their reason for living with what their mission is, with the way they do things, right or wrong, and they put every gift they have and every means at their disposal towards something. Like crazy, or we wouldn't be talking about it. 60 Minutes doesn't cover somebody 2 times in a row within a year ever, except they see a phenomenon. So it's way beyond, for Dion, it's way beyond sports. It's how do you lead? What is that? It's interesting at the least, isn't it, Wade? At the very least interesting. At the most, there's something for us to learn. Okay, we're going to play this commercial that kind of summarizes these two guys and maybe a whole bunch more. Think about the things that stick out to you.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
All right, what stands out in that? Reject the status quo. I don't want to stay in that. We've talked a lot of our speakers have talked a lot about that. The difference in being content and complacent. I can be content with where I am. That helps me move along. But if I'm complacent, I'm probably off. I had an entrepreneur group Wednesday. Somebody says, what drives me, and he's the person who wonders more than, what drives me is that it doesn't have to be this way. Who's thought it worked this week? It doesn't have to be this way. Doesn't have to be this way. I'm not content. I'm content maybe with where I am, but I'm not complacent with where this needs to go. Those guys all live that way. Any of them stick out for you? It sounds like this too. The will must be stronger than the skill. Again, not judging here. We're learning, but he had a purpose, did he? Muhammad Ali. He knew what he wanted. He knew what he thought his life was about. He did everything around that mission. Every temporary goal. An athlete has to do a lot around the temporary goals, don't they? To use his gifts. He was big. He was smart. He was funny. And he used his mouth. People have been learning from Reggie Miller learned from him. I'm positive. If you know that dates me slightly. A couple of you know what I'm talking about. But you learned to use everything he had. Yes, they did. That's it. Look, I'm not going to waste around with book stuff. We're going to get after some experience. Experiential learning. We're going to test this. We're going to see what's going on. Line it all up. He discovered a few things. We're better off because of him, aren't we? Anybody else? Any other quote in there you liked? Rebels, misfit, scorned, pushed back on. All of them made fun of in some way or another. Sounds like the greatest leader who ever lived. Not okay with the status quo, scorned. He was called a rebel. And yet he pursued, he kept going. He kept going toward the mission. So Steve, in his total belief, we're going to look at both these guys' 3 or 4 beliefs, and we're going to talk about the beliefs without judging the person. You think we can do that? It won't be easy, and you'll have that in your heart and you'll say, but really I'm just looking at this as a leadership principle or not, okay? And then there's a life principle. Is it worth having your whole life about that? To be another thing. But to think different, to push the status quo, to believe he could change the world. This is a man, Steve Jobs, who definitely believed he could change the world. And one of those beliefs was founded on this one, which he believed he was special. He believed he was chosen. What do you think about that belief? Sounds like it. Are you special?
Absolutely.
Are you chosen?
Clearly.
Jobs was chosen in a difficult, when he was a kid, in a difficult interaction with his adoptive parents. he said, look, I was cast off, basically. I was left, and y'all had to pick me up. He goes, no, we chose you. We chose other kids. We chose you. And that influenced his life greatly. Who's had something like that happen to him? Katie and I had our father died when I was 7. But about 2 years, people took us everywhere. I made it in a school play and then no talent, I can tell you. That was a sympathy thing. But people just cared for us like crazy for a couple of years and really for a long time, because I'm just going to take interest in those folks. And it made you feel special. It made you feel, you can think back to the time you felt special or chosen, and it probably influences you today at the age you're at. So he believed that for sure. Anybody else? When you were chosen?
Before the foundations of the earth were laid.
Yeah. Before the foundations of the world. He knew it. Okay, I'm saying when I know it's really helpful. It's really helpful once I know. And it's also helpful to know before the foundations of the world, before creation, the greatest leader who ever lived says, you were chosen. Before the foundations of the world. I knew you were going to grow up smart. I knew you were going to grow up all these ways. I knew, I chose Tom because I just knew how smart and intelligent he would be. I knew he would do good work. I knew he would be faithful at times. I knew he would, not be perfect, but I knew he'd overall be good. No, I chose him because I chose him because I chose him, and I laid out this life for him before the foundation of the world. Okay, Giles believed in the fundamental power of belief. Who believes in that? Can belief change the world?
Better believe it.
You better believe it, good Robert. That's a free biscuit for sure. You get that's good. Belief can change the world, for sure. It does change the world.
Good and ill.
Yeah, and somehow it works with what God's doing. Jesus said it went to his hometown. He could do few miracles because of their belief. Wait a minute. How does our belief work with God's belief? How do we align and surrender and trust somehow that works with it? So that's above these 40 minutes. And Giles believe you should live every day as your last. Signed up with that one? Yeah. Any comments? How about this? How did these beliefs change the world? How is this true about him? Let's get practical. Ran a large institution. It's the most valuable company today on the planet. How did his beliefs change the world? Not because of the value of the company only. At least 5 things made by them right here. When you have somebody who's been that way in business. There was a guy with me forever at the bank who he didn't even think I should be there, honestly. But he constantly made us better with everything we're going to run and do. We're going to do it this way. And so we're going to check off the people who are challenging us, and we're going to do even better for that reason. Yeah, and then everybody, and then it raises the whole boat. When one competition, that's not something Simon Sinek also talks about, the infinite game. Why don't we work more with our competitors and raise it up for everybody? Because actually, the business of even those devices and music raised it for everybody, because one person did it, they did it, more did it, and then phones, more did it, right? Now they're trying to make a phone and a tablet be the same thing, right? Some bad things. Yeah. Yes. Let's stay on the good. We're going to get to the bad. Okay. I promise. Who's skeptical too? You say, not a perfect leader. Oh, wait. Do you know one? No. One. Good, Robert. Your 2 biscuits in your queue. What else? So what else is good? What else? How did he change the world? That was his working genius for sure. Wondering what could be. Wondering what could be better. But then lined it all up. Line it all up all the way through. You'd see that every single goal, we're going to get that to that. And he's incessant about detail, probably also a galvanizer to make sure every presentation and the way that things looked. But every single detail from the way he did things lined it up. And there were consequences, Taylor. What problems did his belief create? Huh?
Tech neck.
What's tech neck? What is that? We need to know, especially somebody who's super technical.
What the shape of your neck.
Oh, tech.
Who's had their neck hurting lately? It's a neutral device, yeah. And he didn't let his own kids play with them, by the way. Just a quick side. Yes, Hershey.
Yeah, just got
But you sent me some really encouraging texts. I can look them up, and emails that I got on my iPhone. There's no question about it. He's defining a generation. He's changed things. And a whole lot of other people are part of this. By the way, he didn't want to do a phone. Great Harvard business case on this. He did not want to do the phone. He had done the player. He believed the player. He did the computer. And he believed he could keep making the computer better and the tablets better and this. And he thought phones were for geeks. True fact. And he hated the carriers. The carriers will never let him happen. And they, only because of his pursuit of mission, they finally convinced him that it's going to be, I know the iPod's great, Steve. I know even the way you move it around your fingers great. And I love it touches and it's easy to use and it's intuitive and all the things he cared about. And then they said, but it's going to lose. And you won't be relevant. And in so many words. And so he put them all together. And he went and hammered the carriers, and he got it done. And he paved the way to make it easier that way. But they had to convince him. So personal beliefs there, he kept going. What about anything negative on the personal beliefs? Let me just say one more thing. I think he did this. All men are created in the image of God. And just like a 4-minute miler shows us it's possible to run a 4-minute mile. And when somebody does something in athletics, I can do that too. That's image of God and it's making that. The body was made to do that. Wow. A leader is made to lead this way. Wow. All these things, a creative. He used his creativity. Amazing. He was an idea person. Humans can and should do that, made in the image of God. Every human. I think he imaged that well. And what are some of the problems when they came personally? Anybody who knows it a little better?
He wasn't very nice to his employees.
Super mean,
Yeah.
to say it nicely. Oh, so bad, they said, we'll see you later. That the board rejected him for a while. Wonder, galvanized, missed some discernment on that, right? So, what else? Yeah, he really, to get ready for one of those shows where he's galvanizing everybody, they actually had each iPhone, it was so messed up in the beginning, had to do a different task as they presented on the big board. And they had like 8 iPhones lined up in sequence to do 8 tasks because it didn't all work at the show. And he would hammer people. And he was manipulative of people about stock, people who should have been part of stock because of something more petty. This is in Walter Isaacson's book. On 60 Minutes, it's him saying it's not me, but also just withheld things and just manipulated people that way. Galvanizing was his gift, and galvanizing was the way he didn't treat people well. So, who's fired up about their image of Godness? Who's glad you're made in the image of God? Amen. This is participation. I know it's only 7. Who's glad? I'm super glad. Amen. Who's meeting with somebody today? They're made in the image of God. Yeah, it's no good. That's not the way. You're exactly right. This attention we're building. It's like, because when we don't recognize God, when we don't recognize the Creator, we don't stay on path. And it's who got off yesterday? It's because we didn't recognize God. This thing we see in this leader that wasn't awesome, no, it was terrible actually. That wasn't good. Also said, when we get to all that Romans where we don't think of God, that's how society degrades our sexual ethic, our greedy ethic, every single ethic degrades. And then you get to Romans 2:1 and he says, do not judge them, you're the same. So it's good to see it the same way those of you who are parents and those of you who are becoming parents, you see a child, that child is just not grateful. I've given them everything. How I've done this. And the more I do, the more I get frustrated by that. Who's got somebody in their life, whether you have kids or not, so that person, I've done a lot for them, they're just not grateful. And wait a minute. Oh God. No, I'm not grateful either. Forgive me, I'm not grateful. So it's good to see, it's good. We're through this experience and then to see what we can do. So that's the way we want to look at it. He believed this. If you live every day your last, eventually you'll be right. This is in his famous speech at Stanford. Is he right? He'd be more generous.
Yes. Crazy in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Generous, living it up.
You wouldn't have to hold on to it. Mm-hmm. You can't take it with you.
Yeah.
That sounds like this. That sounds like this. Because, Charlie, what happens when you die?
I'm going up.
You're going up. You're not dying. You're leaving this earth. your body. You will go through death. Nobody wants to. He also says that in that speech, really good. Nobody wants to die, but death is a fabulous motivator. The great fathers of our faith, they had reminders of that. You can read about that. Okay? How does this verse influence? Therefore, God exalted him to the highest place and gave him the name that is above every name, that at the name of Jesus every knee should bow in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and every tongue acknowledge that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. Steve Jobs, there's one report that says when he was dying, his sister was saying he was going, "Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow." And then there's a whole bunch of people saying that he didn't really say that. So I don't know the answer. But everybody, here's what we know. Here's what's true. Everybody is going to say, "Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow." Because where are the people in this verse? Where are they? 3 places. In heaven. Those in heaven, it's going to be glorious. It's already perfect. There's already no more tears, no more sorrows, no more suffering, no more problems, and yet it's going to be the day. Way more. Take the happiest you've ever been. Take how you want to be at 7:30 on Saturday and times that times Google, and that's what it's going to be like. It's going to be amazing. People are going crazy. And then those on earth, first of all, those who've already fallen asleep, Paul says, are going up first. And then those on earth will be taken up with him. What? Wow. Every knee, every tongue will confess, everyone will bow, and then those eternally separated will also go, "Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow." Yeah. And does God have us seek something our whole life, and then when we find it, and we meet him? Is there an opportunity? I don't know. The Bible doesn't say it exactly that way. So it says, make a decision now. It says, no now. It says, but God can do anything he wants to do. He did a thief on the cross. He did zero performance, and he was there. Right? So, oh wow, oh, we're going to say it. Are we going to humble ourselves is really the question. Most important. And we have the opportunity to do it now. So let's not wait. And we have that at work all day long. All day long. We have that Okay, moving to Dion. I imagine this will be even more controversial for you sports fans. And we'll go fast so we can cover it. These are some beliefs. I'm going to read them all, okay? Dion's beliefs, why and how. He believes you're coached who you're coached by matters more than the university you play for. My kids play for me. Dion believes to be great, you have to be resilient. Dion makes clear he believes in God and Jesus and the grace Jesus provides. And I'd say for him, Dion believes in giving your all day. Okay? How is this changing the world? In 3 weeks. In the last, 4 or 5 months, really. How's it changing the world for good? What good do you see? Is this true about him? He has a purpose. He's laid out his life for a purpose. He set a mission to do it. He set all sorts of temporary goals to do that. And he's using gifts and means extraordinarily so. Is he proving it can be done for 3 games? Is he proving you can have 86 players that were on a team last year and win 3 games? He's not won the national championship, by the way. He's still ranked only like 19 or 20. But is he proving it can be done for 3 games? And that's extraordinary to be able to pull something together when nobody was together at all. Nobody was on the same page at all. It's hard in a team, isn't it, Taylor? Like, got new people. It's hard to get them on the same page for a while. Who's in work? Is it hard to get people on the same team? It is. They believe, don't they? I mean, if you characterize them as anything, is belief. They hadn't hit a bunch of roadblocks yet, but they believe and they're resilient. I mean, but come back. They didn't quit believing either all the way to the end. They never stopped to play. They're doing what he says. All right, what are some of the problems with that? And here's a quote. Stop saving yourself and give your life your all. You're not giving today all you got. You're not all in, and you're not emptying yourself completely. Let's go, baby, because tomorrow isn't promised, but today is here. Hashtag prime time. That was Monday morning or Sunday. Okay. Now what are some of the problems with this? Should you live we already covered you should live every day as your last. We got that checked. What are the problems?
I think it.
Yeah. His life purpose. Who seems to be at the center of his life purpose in all the actions he does? Seems to be. Not judging, it's just leadership. We're looking at the leader, we're discerning. It seems he's putting himself in the place. And you can hear it. If you know Scripture, he's saying it. He'll say, in defense of everybody, he said, I don't think about what people are judging me, I don't even judge myself. That's Paul says that. I don't care what anybody says about me. I don't even judge myself. That's in Scripture. And then he blows up how he's going to use it to hate everybody, basically. I'm summarizing the rest. That's not what Paul did. He goes, but he actually does get all the way through it. I don't let you judge me. I don't let any of the haters judge me. I don't even judge myself. I only let the one who put me here judge me. He actually gets all the way to that. And then he just decimates creation in the same thing. That's not how Paul did it. Okay? Whoever speaks on their own does so to gain personal glory. But he who seeks the glory of the one who sent him is a man of truth. There is nothing false about him. That cleans that up pretty good. Who are we speaking about? There's no way I can say he put me here and then say, but I'm going to crush you, Cameron. And you don't deserve to live. I just can't do that. I have to give it to him in humility. Jesus, those verses before every knee will bow and every tongue confess, are this. Although he was God, he did not consider equality with God worth something to be grasped, but took on the form of a servant and humbled himself and became obedient even to death on a cross. Serve, humble. How can I serve these people this way? What Dion's showing us, it's possible to line 86 new players up and 20-something existing ones and compete. And they're all fired up. But you could do it. You could do it his way too. You could do it this way. Millions and millions and millions of leaders have followed this way. Whoever says, I know him, but does not keep his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But whoever keeps his word, in him truly the love of God is perfected. By this we may know that we are in him. Whoever says he abides in him ought to walk in the same way in which he walked. We want to walk the way he walked, and we want to live like this is our last day. There's plenty of scripture that says that. Now, who, when I say that, does that stress out when you have to think about it with your business goals? If you're honest. You want to walk the way he walked. You want to glorify him in it. You want to not praise yourself. You want to walk in humility. And when you see this, I want to keep his commandments. If I know him, who knows him? We want to bring leaders who don't know him. When you do that, you're going to tell me, hey, this guy's in my office. I don't know where he is with Jesus. Let's focus on leadership, and then let's show Jesus as an example. We'll do that because we'll want to be winsome to them. And at the same time, if you know him, keeping these commandments and everything you have to do at work today, is that a stressor or is that a joy? Yes. Oh yeah. He says, I got you. I paid for it. It's done. It's finished. I got you. Don't worry about that. Oh, no, learn from it. If you're going to learn from Jobs, you're going to learn from Sanders what to do and not to do. If you're going to learn from your own. And forgive, but don't maybe forget, I did that wrong. Okay, but you're forgiven, and now you want to do different. But what about for today? I want to glorify him. I want this line to be true about me, okay? And I want to do it his way. What else do you want to live this way? If you know him and keep his commandments and walk, by this we may know that we are in him. Whoever says he abides in him ought to walk in the same way in which he walked. Walk like him today. When? As you lead your family and your friends, as you're off, or in these 55 hours you're going to spend the next 5 work days. Some on Saturday. You going to get up and do a few things in the morning too? Good for you. Pray for me. I'm going to do about 3. All right. What? Is this joy? Should be. It's not. Here's what it's not, guys. It's not a list of ethics to do at work. It's not. If I don't lie, I don't want to lie, and I don't want to take the Lord's name in vain, and I don't want to dishonor the Lord. I've not honored the Lord perfectly while I've been talking to you. I don't make it through it. Again, Carter reminds me of my sins after this, and then I'm able to do them. I don't know which one it is yet, but it's something. And so and somewhere I've taken this for my own glory instead of for his. Somewhere today I've done that already. But the joy of living on purpose, the joy of worship, Romans 12:1, in view of God's mercy. He's paid for it. He's done it. I don't have to worry about yesterday. I want to learn from it, but I present my body as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is my spiritual act of worship. I got another day of worship. The Lord's given me another day. I'm going to live it like it's my last. But the Lord's given me another day. What about you? Okay. Do you believe? What do you believe? What are some things you believe that affect your work? Those guys didn't do it perfect. Okay? We're moving past them. We've learned something from them. You can go deeper in the article later if you want to. What about you? I believe in people. That flies. That flies. It's consistent. I believe in turning, we said Will's was, I believe in turning all this chaos and reconciling and making it good. I believe that things that are out of order don't have to be out of order. Oh, that's perfectly true. That's perfectly true. He's reconciled all things to himself, and he's caused me to be an instrument of peace. That has like a 16-point meaning. I don't believe this government has to be as messed up it is, and at Deloitte, we're organizing it better. Yeah, it's right. Right. So we're making it this much better. We're not going to fix it all today. We're going to be honest and humble. We believe in making it better. We believe in bringing things that are in chaos. We believe in insurance business. I believe in people who are worried about things not being worried. I believe we can put people at peace, that our business helps people understand that they don't have to worry. We can give them peace of mind. All sorts of these things. You can believe it in there, but here's what you can't do. You can't make it up for your business. You have to start with your core belief and push that forward. So what's another core belief? Give me one more. Who's going to deal with somebody who lies today? Some of them need just grace. Some of them need just let them get away with this one. Some of them do.
And some of them need judgment.
And some of them, who's the judge though? There's core belief. Who's the judge?
Jesus
CA?
is the judge.
You can leave this one on tape. Huh?
Jesus is the judge.
He says, I'm not even the judge. He said, there will be a judgment. But yes, love sometimes is saying, you can't do that anymore, and you can't do that to our clients, and you can't do that to our people, and we don't want your business. Taylor and I had to say that to a large client. We don't want your business. If you're in collections, you need to pay this. Right? You need, sometimes we're going to extend. We are kind of a high maintenance lender, so we're going to let you have one more touch. But this one, I can discern this is the best thing for this person to do. It is love for them to say, you need to pay. You need to honor your commitment. I'm going to give you a little grace to do. But here's my game. I'm going to leave them better off than I found them. That's still my goal. I don't hate them because they're not my enemy. Now, how does it inform your how? 8 minutes. You got sheets to work on after this. You got homework to recap it. How does it inform the strategy of it? But look, we're moving from life purpose. Your life purpose doesn't end. Here's what all of you have said. And again, if you bring a friend you're not sure who believes, we'll say some people believe their eternal purpose is above their life purpose. That's how we'd say it. But all you, I know already, you're saying you know your eternal purpose drives you. Pursuing everything in your eternal purpose is what lines up today. Jesus said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. How does that set your mission for the day? For your business. So we're big. An organizational goal that serves the needs of people, the methods by which the goal is pursued helps all stakeholders flourish. How does this, again, you can say your company's mission and say I'm aligned with it. You can say your individual mission the way it complements the company's mission. But what's a mission that would be complementary to your eternal purpose? Okay, so that could be part of it. Every meeting I have, I'm going to let somebody know they matter. And including, if you take the time to do a mission statement, again, mission statements didn't exist till the 70s. There are no mission statements. The church had them, then the military had them, and then some guys right before Tom Peters, but he was a big fan of it, said, these can apply these to businesses. Okay, good. So you don't have to have a mission statement, but if you do, it has to align. And so that document helps you do it. But I do have to say, it has to be consistent with what I believe, the way, the truth, and life. It has to be. And lining it up actually helps my business, or it doesn't need to be helped. Believe me that I'm in the Father, and the Father is in me, or else believe on account of the works themselves. Truly, truly, I say to you, whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do, and greater works than these will he do, because I am going to the Father. How about this one? Wait.
Believe in me that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me, or else believe on account of the works themselves. Truly, truly, I say to you, whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do, and greater works than these will he, because I am going to the Father.
Greater works. We could get a bunch of theologians in here. We can get them all in here, and we could talk about this for a long time. And we're not going to solve it in our 5 minutes. But that's what he's saying. He has not yet gone to the Father. So he's about to have paid for it all. He's not yet been crucified. He's not yet gone to the Father. So the completion is about to happen, and he's about to go to the Father in glory. But he's saying, you guys are going to do greater works even while I was on the earth. What? How does doing greater works inform your temporary goals? The how is that they're going to be greater. That's really missionally. But how the fact that you're entering to that, how does that inform one of your SMART goals? When you're specific, measurable, achievable, time-based goals, how does this do it? The fact that you can do greater work. In your work today, you can do greater works. How does that inform a strategy you're going to have? Or a goal? He says, you're going out. And Paul says something similar. We're making up for what's lacking in Christ's afflictions. I'm sending you out. That's perfect. I'm sending you out to make disciples. I'm sending you out to build your kingdoms and make the biggest business you can make and just show how you use your wonder and your invention and your galvanizing. Is that what he said? No. He said, I'm sending you out. Paul had a whole tent business. He took the business on the road and he made disciples. Some people think very significant one because he was a Roman citizen. Some people think he was just tying tents on the side. That's not even a debate worth arguing, but he put it all the business toward the glory of God, all the business toward making disciples. It stays intangible. It stays up here to glorify God unless I say, the reason I'm going to work today is to make disciples. And so my goal in the way that I do it, yes, we make loans. Or yes, we have leadership training. Or yes, I'm going to make sure the compliance is set up for the rest of these guys. Or yes, I'm going to lease great commercial real estate today. All these things, it's not the presenting needs that are the problem. It's the reason. It's the looking at people and their purpose and saying, I've got to line this up in a way that makes disciples. Because that's I'm called. I was given, I'm going to live forever, but he says your life while you're here, make disciples. And so I want to do work in a way that's winsome. I got to meet there from a doctor. Had a procedure yesterday. They don't do that right. He's not going to get to do much more. If I don't do that in a way, if I don't do the professional thing I've set out to do well, but it's a conduit. It's a goal. It's a strategy to love people. That's what this says. I use my gifts toward the needs of others, all of it. All your businesses are legitimate. We covered that NIL was a legitimate business on Wednesday morning. It's legitimate. It's okay. College football is a legitimate business. We visitors need to see it as an entertainment. The players see it as their work. As importantly, the players see it as importantly as you see your jobs. 3 of them from your high school on that team 70 miles south. They think it's real, every bit of it. We see it as entertainment up here, but the day is important. The day that they're doing is important. And to love people and to see the needs of others is how you line this stuff up. So I've got to get in my purpose, in my belief. I need to make sure it's consistent with where I'm headed, with why I'm here on earth, and then I want to line all these temporary strategies, my marketing campaign, my sales strategy, my customer service strategy, and the 8th thing, my funding strategy. How can that most benefit my purpose, my compliance strategy? Keep these guys clean. Okay, another paper to sign. I'm going to sign 42 papers to get a life insurance policy. But somehow, in love, I'm going to do that. And the guy who really wants to push it down to 36, I'm going to have a discussion about it, see if it's possible. What are all the things I can do temporary-wise? I've been given so many gifts. I've been given such great resources, abundant resources. How do I put those together toward temporary goals? I've got a bunch. Who's got goals for today? Now, put them toward your mission. Put them toward your purpose. Father, you are so good to us. Perfect. You've completed it. It's done. It's finished. You love us. And everything we've never lined up perfectly is paid for. And we shouldn't walk out of here worried about that for a second because you paid for it. But just as we look at other leaders, just as we look at people making big mistakes, would we take that not as judgment, but as a way, what are you telling me, Jesus, about how I should lead, about how I should lead this organization, about how I should plan the day, about how I should approach this 2:30 meeting with this very important person who's made in your image. Send us out that way, Lord, to love them. In your name, Jesus. Amen.